have been in these courtrooms, these hallways of these courtrooms for a couple of years, between the criminal case and this family court case. And in the criminal case, they would show up all the time, waiting for something to happen, and anyone who's ever been through a criminal case like this, the wheels of justice turn ever so slowly. And there's a lot of times you come and nothing happens. So, they would come week after week after week, and nothing would ever happen. But it was like they were coming to an event, a tailgate party. It was like they were, they were just enjoying they were bloodthirsty or something, wanted to see me get stoned to death or get me, eaten by the lions or something. It was just, there was like an evilness to them. I really had not seen this. This isn't what I'd seen in my parents. And they weren't like lovey-dovey parents, but I hadn't seen anything like this. They really seemed like they hated me. Well, which is exactly what happens. And the lawyer says to me, "Why do your parents hate you so much?" And for whatever reason, I could finally hear it. I'm sure that something, that thought had to have crossed my mind a gazillion times before right now. But when he said those words to me, it was like cold water thrown in my face. And they just washed over me. And in the past, I would have always answered. I would have always had my answer ready to go. The one that I've mentioned in a few different videos. My answer, which is always like, some version of, they don't hate me. They just have a hard time expressing their feeling. You just don't understand them the way I do. But, they love me. They just, and I'm sure if I ever really needed them, they'd be there for me. That was my pat answer. It's what I told myself. And it's what I told other people, if ever anyone inquired. It took a circumstance like this divorce for... Now they are doing things that are bizarre enough for other people to see it. And that's almost what it took for me to be able to see it. It's like, up until now, there hadn't been these opportunities to do something cruel to me, if you were so inclined. And there hadn't been all these people around to see it, to tell me, why do they hate you so much? Ask me, why do they hate you so much? This is when the awakening starts to happen. And instead of saying my pat answer, it sinks in, and I go, I don't know. I didn't deny it. I thought, they do hate me. Or at least they don't love me. Because I couldn't tell you how long it had been since anything that they'd done looked like something someone who loved their child would do. And there was evidence all over the place of stuff no loving parent could do. There was no explanation I could come up with that had anything to do with love. For a long time. I was able to keep it going for a long time because I had been raised on low expectations, way up, ratcheted up, to the point when, in 2001 and 2002, they weren't trying to steal my house or have me declared incompetent or have me declared crazy. They weren't doing that. That took a few years, right? So that was the first thing. And in between 2005, that one, and 2007, about a 2-year period, there were these 3 times when I had this major epiphany, and they came with these words that became kind of mantras, and then they all kind of boiled down into this one mantra, which became embrace reality. Embrace reality at all costs. Because I realized that when I said, I don't know, all this stuff kind of came washing forward. I realized those words had been completely missing. Completely missing. Here we were in a situation where all these people, my parents, all these people were making all these decisions, all these choices, and were acting out on me, telling me what I was doing wrong, when not one of them had been through anything I had been through. Divorce, a near-death experience, dying, living, chronic pain, being married to a sociopath, being separated from your kids, getting arrested, jail. Any of these things, any of these things that have happened, any of them. None of them have had any of it ever happen to them. None of them, nor have any of them ever asked me what's been going on with me. No one has ever said to me, I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, what, he said this. I don't know what the truth is. What, no one ever said, I don't know. Always, they kept saying that they knew exactly. They knew everything without talking to me. They knew everything. And they knew what I was doing wrong. They knew how they could do it better. They knew everything without ever talking to me and without ever having lived through any of it themselves. And, it was just an utter and complete lack of compassion. They didn't want to know. They knew as much as they needed to know. They knew what they believed. They knew what they could make look true. They knew what he told them. They knew what they could get away with. That's all they needed to know. They didn't care about the truth. They needed to know enough that they could do what they wanted to do. And also they believed that they knew the one thing that they cared about, which was they believed that they knew that I was trying to expose them. Of course, they were wrong about that too. And the saddest part about that is that they couldn't see how much I loved them. They couldn't look at my behavior. No one could look at my behavior. If anyone had just looked at my behavior, the person I'd proven myself to be for 30 some years, I had been loyal. I had been a dutiful daughter. I had been a dutiful mother, a dutiful wife, and a loyal friend. I had not been a person who would do any of the things. I know some of what I was being accused of. Some of it I can only speculate on, based on things that I have heard, I have now picked up, and other evidence I've seen now over the years, and slowly but surely piece 2 plus 2 put together. With a brain that doesn't work like that. I mean, I've been very handicapped as far as, because I do not think at all in these sort of manipulative ways. I have a really hard time thinking like a sociopath or thinking like a narcissist. A really hard time. I don't know why that is. I don't know how you can be raised by a narcissist and not know how they think. But it's, all of this was unpredictable to me, completely unpredictable to me. And it's not now that, of course, that I've learned about it. But anyway, the 2 other times, so the first one was, I don't know. The 2 other times were, I was in jail, and I caught a glimpse of myself. And it looked so surreal to see myself in this jail outfit through like an aluminum mirror. And words that came to me right then, and they probably would seem typical words, but not for the reasons you think. But the words that came to me were, I was wrong. Which had nothing to do with me being there in jail. And nothing to do with that. What I was wrong about my beliefs. I was wrong about, the main thing I was wrong about is I was wrong about trusting people more than myself. Betraying myself and putting my life in other people's hands, and trusting them to know the truth better than I did, and not listening to myself. I was wrong to do that. I was wrong to accept abusive behavior and always say tomorrow will get better. Tomorrow it didn't get better. I put up with bad behavior. I put up with abusive behavior, and I was wrong about thinking that this was the reason and that was the reason it was going to get better. It never did get better. I was wrong about everything. Every single time that I trusted him, I was wrong. I was wrong. Now, I wasn't wrong about the way that I approached marriage. I wasn't wrong about the way that I approached, the way that I left, the way that I approached these relationships. I did it the right way. I did it with all my heart, wholeheartedly, completely trusting, going for intimacy. I was wrong about the people that I trusted. I was wrong about them. I was wrong about them. I betrayed myself, and I didn't trust myself, and I was the most reliable person in my life. I was the only one that was going to take care of me, and I was the only one who was looking out for me. I was the only one who cared about what was right and what was wrong. And then the third one was 2007. This had been going on now. I had been basically, it'd been 5 or 6 years where I'd been, pretty much just abandoned by now. I mean, when I died and I was resuscitated, and the very next day after I get discharged from the hospital, I don't hear from a soul from my house, my family, the whole entire day. Um, you know, that would have been the day I could have said to myself the epiphany that I had, but I didn't say it then. It took me 6 more years to say, no one is coming. No one is coming. I felt like there were things that I wasn't doing for myself, because to do them for yourself would suggest that you were alone, that you didn't have anyone to rely on, that you didn't have, and I realized that a piece of me was holding myself back, waiting for my family to act like a family, waiting for someone to be a hero, waiting for someone to come by and pull my kids close and save the day, be like, this woman and these children need a hero. I'm going to be the hero. And I wanted my father to act like a father. I wanted my mother to act like a mother. I wanted my brother to act like a brother. I wanted their father, my husband, to act like a husband and a father. I wanted people just to act like the decent people that I thought they were. And I was surrounded by people that could have knocked on the door at any moment. My ex-husband would say, "Oh, I was there for the kids. I just wasn't there for you." There is no way in any person's world that's not a narcissist that would understand that kind of thinking. It's like when my son's stepmother told one of them that their dad loved him more than his brother or something like that. And my son goes to me, he's like, "I don't want to know that. Doesn't make me feel good." But see, that's our narcissist. She thought that would be a big moment for him. That'd be a victory. I won, he lost. But my son wasn't a narcissist. So they don't want a family. It's not like, oh, we were there for the kids, we're not there for their mother. Then you're not there for them. They don't want a family that's not there for their mother. They love their mother. They need their mother. So being there for them meant being there for their mother. And there was no reason not to be. There was just no reason not to be. And except for just pettiness or cruelty. And here's the thing. I really want to mean, their dad was a pretty, really bad guy, a sociopathic guy. But the thing of it is that he was absolutely stoppable, and he would have been stoppable before it even started, before I ever even had to know a thing about it. He would have been completely stoppable. And you know what it would have taken? It would have taken my parents or my brother disapproving. It would have taken them saying, "Hey, that's not cool. You can't just abandon her when she's sick and your kids need you. I mean, come on, be a man, be a husband, sickness and health. Remember that, If any one of them had stood up, they didn't even have to say that much. They could have just not sucked up every single lie that he told and gotten jazzed up about it and then come charging after me. You know what I mean? And they could have just acted a little bit like, that doesn't sound good, that doesn't sound right. A little bit disapproving. Because my own family being behind him not only was convincing to everyone else, but it also made it so that he had no limitations. He would just, once he knew that he could do anything, and he wouldn't lose the approval of my family, which, what does that say? What kind of a family would do that? And my only guess is that and the reason why is a mystery to me. They, the only thing I can come up with is that they thought that I was trying to hurt them, and the only reason they would think that is because they didn't see me for who I was. They saw me how they were, and they were trying to hurt me. They were capable of hurting me, but I never ever hurt them. I never even thought of it. So over and again, what was happening to me is that I was they were projecting their behavior onto me, and then, doing things to me that were exactly what they projected onto me, and I was getting it from both directions. That happened over and over again. But anyway, those moments were the saddest moments. When that moment when I was like, no one is coming, it was, these were just the saddest moments. But you know what went away when those moments came and went? They left me with the truth for the first time. They left me with reality. And there was power in that. But the other thing that they took with them, they took my depression with them. Bye.